all. Good to see you all. So before we begin, I've got a little bit of news from my life. A little while ago, I got engaged. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. It's not actually the news, though. What I was going to say is, if anyone here is thinking about getting engaged, I do have a ring I need to sell. So I am not engaged anymore. She's gone. And I will do it at a good price, right? Because nobody wants a second-hand engagement ring, possibly because it sounds like the sort of thing you might need as an ingredient in a curse. I'm back to square one, starting again. I don't find that particularly easy. I'm not really what you call an alpha male. I've definitely slept with more women than I've had sex with. I feel like I can't really move on until I get rid of this ring, you know, because like, what an emotional object to have hanging over you, a second-hand engagement ring. It's like, it's an emotionally charged object, but it's also a little story, isn't it? Not a whole story, but enough of a story. It's like if a person owns a single blood-stained ski. Drag it around everywhere, whispering to it, crying, refusing to explain what it is. Like, you don't know exactly what's going on in that scenario, but you know enough to just leave it the fuck alone. I've learned a lot from the experience though. You know, I've learned that we're getting better at acknowledging that some mental health issues can be as debilitating as physical disabilities, and I've also learned that being caught using a disabled toilet by a wheelchair user is not the time to express that view. We all grow in our own ways, don't we? So, yeah, so I've got to get back on the horse, like to try and find love again. But to be honest, I'm a little bit scared of it, because I'm scared it will happen again. I'm scared that I'll get engaged again, or I'll get married and it won't work out. And I don't want to be like some sort of forlorn Sonic the Hedgehog, mindlessly running around collecting rings that he realistically has no practical use for. It's not how I saw my life going. Because, you know, we don't learn about love in any formal way, do we? So we don't really understand it. We learn about it from Love Actually, things like that. And that gives men in particular a quite weird idea of how to behave in a romantic setting. I'm sure we all know men that consider themselves to be hopeless romantics, right? We all know those guys. Sort of, someone over there just went, pfft, and absolutely you're right. Like, sort of guys that go, oh my god, I'm such a hopeless romantic. Like, I just fall in love on the tube every single day. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I know what you mean. You mean you stare. You mean that you stare at women and you force them to worry about whether or not you might follow them home. It's not noble or romantic, is it? You're not Colin Firth because you're holding your Kindle rather than your penis. Ultimately the same effect. So you look a bit further, you know, look a bit closer to home for an example of love, you know, because whether we like it or not, our parents' marriages are the relationships that we base our own relationships on. And I've not learned a huge amount about love from my mum and dad, because my dad, he's quite closed off, doesn't express emotion a lot, and he does express love to my mum, but he does it by saying things like, you do know, if anyone ever hurt you, I'd kill them. Happy birthday. I am amazed that the bakery will even make such an aggressive cake. Every year. But after a breakup, right, everyone tells you to be positive, and that is actually bad advice. You need to mope, right? Because if you try and be positive when you're not feeling positive, you'll fail, and that'll make you feel worse. You just end up sat about in your pants, procrastinating. I got really into box sets of wine. It's not a box though, is it? Let's be real about this for a moment. It's a bag. It's a bag in a box. It's a bag of wine. We all know that. The bag makes it portable. That's the best feature of it, right? But we're missing out on that because for some reason, collectively, as a society, we've decided that it's not acceptable to suck wine out of a bag with a tap on it when you're feeling a bit glum. And I say, it's 2019, why the hell not? So I did what you do after a breakup. I moved into a shit flat. Anyone here live in a shit flat? Of course you do. We live in London. We live in London. It's the only way to do it. And the radiators in my flat vibrate, right? And that's not going anywhere good, is it? So I thought I need to try and get this sussed out. And I've got one of those letting agents where they pretend to be morons so they don't have to do anything and spend any money. And I thought I'd made a breakthrough recently, right? And a lady that works for them called me up and she said, "Hi Dean," which is not my name. And And then she said, I found a plumber to come and look at the radiator. And then she burped. I'm like, I don't mean like swallowed a hiccup. I mean like Henry VIII at the end of a fucking hinge, like, and I'm still reeling from that, and she goes, so I'll send the plumber your number, and you guys can take it from there. Then she hung up on me, sent me my own number, and that's the last I heard of her. They win again. Got new neighbours as well, and they are very cocaine-y boys. Oh. Such cocaine-y boys. I know that because their balcony is pretty much under my bedroom window, and they'll be on it on a Sunday night, right? And I think they work in finance, and you'll hear them going, you know what? I think actually I'm not going to go to bed. I'll go to work. I've done my job on cocaine. I can do my job on cocaine without sleep. I'm amazing at my job. Of course I can, right? Three things. Right. Firstly, of course you think you're amazing at your job if you're doing it on cocaine. It's cocaine, isn't it? It's Viagra for your idea of you. Secondly, again, this is London. That is not cocaine. It's been sold to you as cocaine, but it's dental anaesthetic, brick dust, and the cremated remains of police informants, right? Thirdly, if you are so confident that you are that good at your job and you can do it on drugs, do it on acid. Love to see that, just for a week for the financial sector to swap cocaine for acid. See how good you are with numbers when they're flaming hieroglyphics. Chasing you around the office, spelling out Daddy's expectations. So yeah, it's been a stressful time in my life. I find myself worrying about a lot of things, mostly because they keep me up at night, but I worry about money. I'm not very good with money. If you're not very good with money, I've got a tip for you. Argos sell night vision goggles for £40, which after 6 or 7 years is a significant saving on light bulbs. You're welcome. Right? But money's stressful, isn't it? It's stressful if you don't have it, and it's stressful if you do have it, because you worry about losing it. And we all have to face up to that, because, you know, automation is coming along and it's taking jobs away. You know, I read that in the financial sector itself, up to 90% of jobs could be under threat in the next 10 years. So people like my neighbours, the people that work in finance, they're not going to go quietly, are they? They're educated, motivated, intelligent people that are used to a certain lifestyle. They're not going to give that up. They'll be coming up to us on a Friday night going, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if anyone could spare £15,000? So I can find somewhere to go skiing. Such cocaine boys. I worry I'm a bad person as well. I worry that I'm a bad person for no reason. There is a term for worrying that you're a bad person for no reason within the psychiatric community, and that is Catholicism, right? But I was not raised Catholic. I don't know where this has come from, you know. I don't know why I feel this way. And when I say, I want to clarify, when I say I feel like I'm a bad person, I don't mean like I'm some disgusting, irredeemable, wretched creature like Kim Jong-un or David Walliams. I feel more like, you know, I don't do enough good, you know, and that void can easily be filled with bad. Like I talk a good game, you know, but I'm not a very good ally. For example, I once went on a gay pride march, but if I'm completely honest, it's because I used to live in Brighton, I needed milk, and it was on the way. Not really giving up my bone marrow in that scenario, am I? I worry about turning into my dad as well. Anyone here worried about turning into my dad? Because like my dad, he's getting more right-wing as he gets older, and that's the thing that's said to happen, isn't it? And to be fair, I mean, he's quite right-wing to start with, which I think helps, but he's doing that thing. He's nearly 70 now, right? So he's got about 10 opinions, and he just fits those to things rather than the other way, because he's got to the point he can't even be bothered to think, right? So he thinks the same thing about, for example, French people that he thinks about cats, which is that they're aloof, that they refuse to speak English even when they obviously can. And that they're determined to shit in his garden. And that it makes sense. Doesn't care. Head down, doesn't care, leave means leave. It's, yeah, unreal. But he's talking about his own death a lot. So anyone here got a dad that's obsessing over their own death? It's really sad, right? Yeah, there you go. They start doing it. It's weird, right? So he keeps talking about it. And so I thought, well, this is really sad. So what can I do to cheer him up? So what I did, right, was I got in touch with Dignitas, the assisted suicide clinic in Switzerland, right? Because Christmas is coming up. I thought I'd get him some vouchers. opportunity, that is. So he keeps saying, he keeps going, don't worry about a funeral for me, I'm not going to be there to enjoy it, save yourselves the money. If you want, you can just put me in a bin bag and chuck me in a skip, right? And I appreciate that, he's just trying to save us some money, but at the same time, that is way more complicated than just having a funeral, isn't it? That is absolutely a crime. The most lenient judge in the land would look on that as fly tipping. And with the best will in the world, he is not going to fit into a single bin bag. He's a large man. So the last family activity we share would be us carving him up to put him into easily disguisable bags. And I don't know how to do that. I'm not prepared to do that, because him being a dad, he's never let anyone else carve the roast. Right, on that slightly sombre note, I'm gonna go. My name is Jim Campbell. You can find me on all the parts of the internet. If you would like to buy an engagement ring or marry me. Good night.
Like, isn't it time we just legalise drugs? Come on, let's do it! Now's the time! Now's the time! Because we never have any money in this country, and we're always arguing about where we get it from. So, do we tax the rich?